Welcome back. We're here to cover part six of the White History series. In this country that will be highlighted, this episode will be Kyrgyzstan. And I know I probably have butchered or messed up some pronunciations, but you have the text and the maps right there to look at. And just what we're gonna do, we're just gonna keep this thing moving. All right. So says Kyrgyz history can be traced at least to the first century BC. The probable abodes of the early Kyrgyz were in the upper Yenisei River valley of central Siberia and the Tashiked culture, first century BC, through 5th century CE, an amalgam of, as you see here highlighted, Asiatic and European peoples. So, once again, like I highlighted last episode and every episode, all of this is giving a picture of not only history, it's giving a picture of ethnicity, it's giving a picture of race, and it's giving a picture of how who was who, what was what, and over time, as we step by step go through, how the complexion or the face of an entire culture or a country can look like this and then eventually look like this. You feel me? So anyway, to run that back, the Tashik culture was an amalgam or a mix of basically Asian and Caucasian peoples. Now, when I say Caucasian, I'm saying it because they have Asiatic and European peoples. We're also going to unveil who the real Europeans are is as well, which is why I'm replacing European with Caucasian. But we'll get into that as well. So it goes on further. Chinese and Muslim sources of the 7th through the 12th century describe the Kyrgyz as red haired with fair complexion and green or blue eyes. Who? That ain't us. You feel me? And the damn sure ain't no Asian with moving on. They were viewed as a forest dwelling northern people who used skis and practiced shamanism. In the mid 9th century, the Kyrgyz, by then certainly Turkic speaking, overthrew their Yurgi empire, or overthrew the Yurgir empire in Mongolia, but did not settle there. They essentially remained a people of the forest. So, according to the Persian geography, Hudud al Alam, I guess apparently written in 982, the Kyrgyz lived at the edge of the uninhabitable lands of the north. The 11th century grammarian Mahmud al Kasgari mentions that their language was Turkic. I gotta, put emphasis on that. So you have a group of people that are, from what they're kind of laying out, these people are Asiatic and Caucasian mulattoes, a mixture, amalgam. That's what it means, to mix something up. They were Caucasian and Asian, and they spoke Turkic. These are the people who later on through history you will identify as the Turks. You know what I mean? Sit back and let that just soak in for that second. So anyway, because of their secluded habits, the Kyrgyz remained outside of the mainstream of inner Asian history, a fact that has allowed them to survive the Mongol deluge that completely altered inner Asian political landscape. And it goes on further to say in 1207, the Kyrgyz surrendered to Genghis Khan's son, Jochi. By so doing, they not only escaped destruction, but also remained beyond the immediate reach of Islam. And in the late 16th century, shamanism was still flourishing among these people. So shamanism, let me throw a little highlight on there, because that's a new thing I'm also trying to do. So as I'm kind of going through this stuff, I'm also just identifying not only the people, or should I say the various peoples. You have various peoples practicing similar religions at one point or another. And this is to dispel the ignorance that a lot of people may be brainwashed into thinking that, like, if you're Christian, you're only this. If you're Muslim, you're only this. If you practice Judaism, you're only this. No, those are religions. Those are ways of life, of spirituality, whatever you want to call it, that you as the individual choose to go. Just like when you go to college, you choose if you want to study math, science, history. Well, those are kind of prerequisites, but you get what I'm saying. Like, if you want to be an art major, you choose that. If you want to be a science major, you choose that. If you want to go into medical, you choose that. You're not born a doctor. You're not born a scientist, or you're not born an artist. These are things that you choose. So let's move on to the next slide here. So it's breaking down next that by the 16th to 17th century, most of the remaining Kyrgyz tribes lived in the Tian Sha range as mountain nomads. So let's jump back to the map here. So looking at this map, as we zoom in, let's see. Oh, they're gonna do me dirty. They ain't gonna show what I need to see. Well, let me see. Boy, they trying to do me dirty this time. But basically, you have your Himalayan mountains, and then in this upper area here, you have the Tian Sha mountain range. Man, let me just type this thing in because they're trying to play games with you. Let me see. Tian Sha. Tian Sha mountain range. There we go. I don't know why it was trying to act like it didn't want to show it at first. So now we X that out. Of course, we put in the Himalayas. And then this whole little strip right here, as you see, parts of India, China, Bhutan, Nepal, But yeah, that whole little joint right there is the Himalayas to the south. You have the Tian Sha Mountains to the northeast. And then there's the country we talk about, Kyrgyzstan. All right, there it is. All right, so anyway, back to, so these mountain ranges divided into two wings, left and right, and though the advancing Russians still encountered remnants of the Yenisei branch of the Kyrgyz, So I guess one branch stayed in the mountains while the rest were kind of, I guess, in the lower, land area or the plains or whatever you want to call it. In 1703, under pressure from the Zungars, a tribe of Western Mongols, the Yenisei Kyrgyz moved to the semi-Richi, but I'm here getting all tongue tied, but hostilities between the two peoples continued until China's defeat of the Zungar leader Amersa in 1757. Goes on in the mid 18th century, nominally at least, the Kyrgyz became part of the Qing or Manchu Empire of China. And then we'll wrap this up with this final piece here. Between 1825 and 1830, they were conquered by Muhammad Ali, the Khan of Kokand. Bishkek, the future capital city of the Kyrgyz, was built by that Khanate. So this gentleman, Muhammad Ali, during the time that he took over, that area of those people, that's when they, established the capital city. And then through these contacts, Islam was gradually adopted by the more southern Kyrgyz, although it has remained merely a veneer on the national culture. So, just to kind of translate what they saying in that last piece, through the latest conquest or the latest introduction via Muhammad Ali in that area, which would now be known as Kyrgyzstan, Islam was brought in, but it really wasn't like a full-fledged national religion. It was just more of a, like, almost to kind of break it down, like a flex, or we kind of on that like that, but they still are following their other traditional religions and practices behind the scenes as well. So that will wrap up Kyrgyzstan, and we'll catch y'all in the next installment for part 7 of the White History series.